umependa sana, wenye shida umesaidia wote, wenye njaa umewapa chakula, nguo zako umepeana zote, hakuna anayetambua haya ambayo umetenda kwote. Sasa naona inakupa wani na kuomba usijali, iye kuita naona yote, tabarikiwa na siku zote.
Joining. Hey Marty, good to see you. Jump in the water, yeah? Cool down. Tag someone, share your video. Someone, please invite someone to watch with you.
Utawasomesha wajue kizungu wakutusi, utawalisha washibe wakupige. Wewe tenda mema, wewe tenda mema tu, wewe tenda mema, wewe tenda mema tu.
Taga Fred, Lilian Mothoni, Winnie Omoro, good to see you, my sister. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining. Let's get blessed together. Tenda mema nenda zako. That's ringtone and Christina Shusho. So I hope you guys are fine. I trust God has kept you and protected you. I am well. So I want to say hello to everyone that's joining. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I don't take it for granted. I know you would be doing anything and everything else except this. So I'm so grateful for your time. So today we're gonna look at something very important in life: courage. Courage. What is courage? Courage is boldness. It can also be defined as boldness, as audacity, the audacity to do something that frightens you. The boldness, the courage is the ability to do something that frightens you. The guts. You hear people saying, do you have the guts? You have the guts, you have guts. It's because you have courage. You're a courageous person. Thank you, Edith, for joining. It's daring to do something. Daring to do something that is frightening to you, even or to other people, but mostly to you. So to be courageous, thank you, Kafogo. To be courageous means you're living and you're doing things that are not easy, that are challenging. It doesn't mean living foolishly. It doesn't mean taking crazy risks. It means looking at something and assessing it and saying, this looks crazy and it looks hard for me to do, but I feel that I can do this. Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for joining. So now that we know we all here, all came here for a specific purpose. Now that we know we all are here to do something that was sent, we were sent from heaven to come and achieve a certain purpose and then go back. Then we should know that this purpose, it takes courage. It takes a lot of audacity to live a good life, to live a life of purpose. To live anything good in life desires courage. To have a beautiful family and a good family, you need courage. To have a successful life, you need courage. Everything that is good in life will desire and will need courage. So courage is so important, but we don't usually talk about it. And when we look at people doing crazy things that we wouldn't personally do, we look at them like, I don't know what's wrong with them. But it looks crazy when they are doing it, but when they succeed, we see them at a different light. So this is what I want us to talk about today, because if God is going to use you, He's going to use you because you are a courageous person. You refuse to settle. You refuse to follow the majority. You stand out. You do things even though others don't think they are doable. So that is only way God can use you. And how He cultivates this, how He cultivates you living from inside, because courage is determined by when you are living your life from inside out. Not from the surrounding, not from the circumstances around you. Not because people around you are doing this, then you do this. Then because your parents are doing this, you are saying do this, you do it. And there is a time for all of us that we are young, especially when we are young, our mind is not developed. And so we don't know, we have not really come to a place where we can determine what is safe and what is not safe, what is good and what is not fully good. Some things look fine from a distance, but they are not nice. It's like a kid trying to touch a flame of fire. The parent comes in and tells them, no, that will hurt you. To a kid's eye, it looks pretty. It looks nice as you want to touch it. But for a parent, at that moment, they are very necessary to come in and tell this kid, no, even though it looks nice, this is dangerous. This can harm you. All right. So this is where during formation, our formative years, parents are very important to guiding us, to show us which way to go. Our teachers, especially teachers when we were young, they are very important to show us the path of life. But then it comes to a place where you are grown and you have developed your mind enough that you can make your own decisions. Now, when you are young and when your parents are making these choices for you, telling you what is good and what is not good, some of them made choices for our future and said, you are going to be a doctor and you are going to be a teacher and you are going to be this or that or that. And we follow what they said, only to get somewhere when our mind and we develop enough now that we can make our own mind, where we can understand that, I don't feel that teaching thing in me. I don't feel this doctor thing in me. And that is you now. You have come to a place where you can determine what is good for you and what is not good for you. What you want and what you don't want. What you can do and what you cannot do. And so even though we want to please our parents, even though we want to follow the path they carved for us, even though the teacher recommended that I would be a good lawyer, I know that lawyer is not in me. And so I have come to a place now in my mind that I have developed enough, and I feel like even though I want to please them, this is like swimming upstream. It's like swimming against current because it's not in me. So that's when you start realizing there are desires that God has placed inside you. That now, even though your parents think you are good at making judgment and so you should become a lawyer, or you're good at treating pets and taking care of people so you should become a doctor, you feel like that desire is being directed elsewhere. So that's why we should pay attention to what our heart desires are. What is God put inside us? Why do I like there are people who like kids who open this phone up and take every part of it and try to assemble it. That's a desire. They believe they can fix this thing. And that is part of their makeup. And if they follow what is pulling them towards that, they might discover they were called to be an engineer or to be someone who is making things with their hands, creative people. But now, if this kid, the parents said you should be a doctor or you should be a lawyer, but in their heart of hearts, they know I'm being pulled towards making things with my hands. Lawyers don't do that. Lawyers determine what is right and what is wrong. So it's a mind game, but this one is a hand game. It's head on. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to what pulls me, what really gives me direction. What is that desire that God puts in me? Right? So when we get there and we now start making our own mind, some parents will feel offended. Some teachers, some people, guardians who are with us in our formative years and carved our path, when we start making decisions that, no, mom, no, dad, I don't feel like I'm a doctor, I want to be this. They sometimes feel like this is rebellion. And it's not. I want to qualify that because I'm not saying kids go and disobey your parents. There is a right time for that. Let them guide you through the path of life until you get to a place where you can determine this is what I want and this is what is good for me. But when you get there, I want to tell you there will be resistance. And when this resistance mostly comes from people that know you, people that raised you, people that really should feel like they know who you should be and who you should become. And so when you are determined to following your heart, following that desire that God put in you, because that is how God would pull you and direct you towards what your purpose on earth is. So if you disobey or ignore those feelings, ignore those desires, you're going against the current. Because that's how God, it's like you are leading a cow or a goat, which it has a ring or a string on it, and you pull it towards where you know there are greener pastures. And so God knows where He's leading you. That's why He has put those desires inside of you. And so if you disobey, you learn to go against what you please people. I don't know why my internet is acting up. So if you learn to disobey, if you learn to go against what you feel inside, eventually you will lose that art of feeling. It's the instinct that God has put in you. Some call it instinct, some call it intuition, but really it is God inside you who is tagging you. Come this way, start a business, leave this job, do this, do that. It is God who is pulling you, showing you this is the way you should go. All right, this is not the way you should go. Even though your parents think you are good at math and so you should become an accountant, that is not my desire for you. Yes, be good at math, be good, but my desire for you will be to do this. So now, the problem is we ignore this. We ignore this. And so what we need to do for us to be able to live courageously, we need to get to this place where we are autonomous. What is being autonomous? Autonomy is a state of self-governing, self-direction, moral independence, the capacity to make an informed and coerced decision, where you can look at a decision and with your own grown, developed mind, decide this is the right way for me to go without following anybody's voice. This is where you become autonomous. You are grown enough, you have developed enough, you are confident enough that you can make decisions. I'm not disqualifying looking for advice. I'm not disqualifying seeking counsel, because the Bible says you need to seek counsel if you are wise. But then there are times that God is pulling you to do something And in your heart of hearts, in your autonomous mind, you know this is where God is leading me. I need to start this business. I need to get a job here. I need to do this. I feel it so strongly. But then the people that are around you might not feel it. They might not see it the way you see it. They might not feel it the way you feel it. They might not understand, because some of these things God wants us to do, they are crazy. They don't make sense. Even to us. Even to me, God can tell me to do something. Like when he told me to start speaking here and talking to you guys, I felt like, God, you got the wrong person. I am not good at this. This is not my thing. But he is the one that knows what he invested in you. And so all I needed to do was agree, say yes, even though I don't know the outcome. I didn't know if one person would watch or no one would watch. I didn't know. But I have come to realize obedience, like the Bible says, is better than sacrifice. And so when you hear God saying, come this way, go, sometimes make sure it is God though. And that's why I'm saying living from within makes you live a courageous life. Because now, even when these counsels, if mentors, a pastor may not understand, a parent may not understand, older siblings may not understand, but you still go for it. You know in the heart of hearts that it is God guiding you. It is God leading you. So I want you to know that when you get to that place where you can decide on yourself, you can really make up a decision. Should I move from this city and go to the other city? This is an inner conversation you should have with your God. However you pray, however you believe, however you communicate with God, pray to him and make sure he confirms. Yes, move. However he confirms to you, because he talks to us in different ways. And so when you have confirmed that this is the move you should make, then people around you, some might agree, some might disagree. Remember, what matters is that voice within you. What matters is the voice that is leading you and telling you, listen, you should go. Because when you follow that voice, that leading, whatever blessing that you are supposed to receive for that season is going to be waiting for you in the next place God is leading you. And so if you disobey, if you insist on staying where you are because people around you are thinking, how can you move? That place is not even that good. That place, you're going to have to start over, this and that. If you listen to the voices around you, they will limit you. Because now you're going to stay in this place. Remember, God, grace goes before us. And so when he called me to leave, let's say I live in Houston, Texas, and he orders me go to California, for example, right? And I know in my mind this is the voice of God telling me, go to California. If I say, no, California is not my thing. I like Houston. I like it here. I have friends here. I go to church here. I do things here. My child has friends here. How can I destabilize my life and go to California? Now, the problem with that is the grace that I was allotted to me to survive and to live a good life in Houston has been transferred from Houston to California. It's waiting for me there. And so if I insist on staying here because people around me don't understand, or because I'm too fearful, I'm not courageous enough to take that step of faith and do what God is leading me to do, then I will stay here, but I'll be very miserable. And so I know today I'm talking to people who are very miserable, sometimes because you are in a place of work that you know you don't belong there. You know you should have quit long time ago. You are in a marriage that is abusive, that is not feeding you, that in a relationship that is not feeding or helping you. It's in fact diminishing you. If you're in such a situation, or in a business, it's dying, you know the grace of God has moved from that environment. And before he moves his grace, he tells you where to go. That's why you need to develop the art of discernment, the that discernment in you. That way you can hear when God is saying, or you can sense what God is saying or doing in you. Because if you don't, He will move and you will not know it. God is a moving God. He's always into movement. Look at the children of Israel. They never stayed in one place in the desert for too long. He was moving them. Every second, He was moving them. And sometimes He will tell them, stay in this place for a long time. So sometimes, even in our jobs, God has kept us there for a while. When we get out of that place, He will lead us to the next place. It's because in that place of work, there is something God wants us to get inside. There's something He wants to download on the inside of us. There is some ideas we need to learn. There's some tactics we need to learn in that area. And if we don't obey, if we don't listen, sometimes we pluck ourselves out too soon because someone at work don't like us, or we don't like the boss, or we don't like the job, not knowing it is God that is placing you. So as a Christian, you remember, you don't live for yourself. You live for God. And so sometimes He will move you whether you're ready or you're not. Because ready for us means, okay, I have saved enough money, I have rented an apartment, I have done this, I have looked for my child's school, now I'm ready to move. But God doesn't have time for that. He will move you, and then you go and figure those things on the other side. So living courageously basically means living open to what God leads you to do. Living and doing things that are coming from within, even though other people around you don't understand them. Even though people around you might think you are crazy for doing that. He will tell you, and this is the thing, He will not start you with big decisions. He will start pulling you. See, like I was saying, when we were young and our parents carved our paths, it will start with maybe realizing, even though my parents want to be me to be a doctor, I don't feel like a doctor. And maybe me telling it will bring conflict between me and my family, but at the same time, it will set me free to be who I am meant to be. So what I want you to know is it will bring conflict, there will be tension, you will look like you are rebellious. See, let me tell you something about how I left home. I didn't leave home because my mom and I agreed, go ahead and look for something. I finished high school. I knew it was time to go to college, but the situation at home could not have allowed that to happen. At least not in the next 2-3 years. And I was like, man, I don't do well in the village. I don't do well in the farm. I don't do well in this. It's not like I'm lazy. Maybe I am, but I don't like farming. I don't like taking care of cows. It's just not my thing. And I want to leave this place, but I don't know where to go. I don't know how to live. I don't have anywhere to go. And telling my mom that is like, it's like, oh God, it was tough. So I tried to look for ways out. I tried to tell her, Mom, I need to get a job in this place. And she will not hear it. I said, Mom, can I get a place in this other place? She will not hear it. I said, God, I know farming is not in me. I don't want to disobey my mom. I don't want to make her mad. I don't want to do anything that will make her angry. Like, my mom is like big thing for me. I don't like to even see her upset. So I said, God, I prayed. I literally prayed. I can't say I was like a good like prayer warrior or anything, but God doesn't need you to be a prayer warrior. He needs you to go to Him and ask what you want from Him. And so I said, God, you know, you created me. You know this place does not feel good. It doesn't feel right. I need to leave this village because, man, it's like, instead of me going to the farm, this farm is farming me. I feel like I'm losing part of me every day. I need to get out of here. And not just to escape work. I just need to get to a place where I can pursue what it is inside me. And I know college was not time for college at the time. It's because, first of all, we could not afford it, right? And now, I don't have anywhere to go. And I say, God, I know you create ways, and I know you make ways where there is no way. I need you to make a way. Make a way for me to leave this village. And trust me, months later, he made a way. But guess what? The way he made was not okay for my mom. It was not okay for my brothers and my sisters. It was not okay. And they said, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And deep inside, I knew the prayer I had prayed. And I knew this was God making a way. It doesn't look right. It doesn't make sense to people around me. But I know this God has made this way. And so I had to go. So I said, God, forgive me because I'm about to disobey my mom. I am about to leave without her permission. And I know that, my mom is like fire. You don't want to play with that woman. She will beat you up. Even as big as I am, she will still beat me up, right? She don't play. So now I left. And for 4 months, nobody in my family wanted to see me because saying no to mom was like, are you crazy? How can you even do that? Right? So it was like I didn't talk to my mom for 4 months. My brothers and sisters, except the one I was staying with, because I went with my sister. And the others were like, oh no, how can you disobey mom? How can you say no to mom? How can you do this? No one would understand, right? So now I left. I felt so burdened because I love my mom. I love her, man. And I can't speak to her. First of all, there was no cell phones at that time. It was around 2001. There are no cell phones. I can't even call home. I don't know how she's doing, but I know she's mad at me. And I know if I dare go back, I'll be beaten to a pulp, right? I say, God, help me, help me, help me. But I know I'm following the direction that is coming from within. And guess what? 4 months later, now my mom has cooled down and now she's actually missing me. And I said, now I will go back to my mama. You know that prodigal son situation? I will go back home and apologize because I know now I miss her so much. She missed me so much. Now we need to see each other regardless of what happened before. And so I did go back and I did some little shopping and I went back home and I cried so much. Even she didn't beat me up. Whew, thank God, right? But at this point, she had learned what I was trying to tell her. Mom, I'm not good at this place. And when I came back to say hello to her, we hugged and cried, right? And she said, what exactly are you looking for? So I told her, Mom, one thing is very clear to me. In the farm, that is not my calling. I can't do farming. I know you love farming. I know you love doing this, but this is not me. It kills me to be here. It kills me to be here, right? And so now I need you to give me the blessings. I know I left before without you being okay with it. But now I came to seek your blessings. Because I suffered a lot in Nairobi. I said, oh my God, this is because I didn't get my mom's blessings, right? And so I said, Mom, I just came to get your blessings because I know I am doing the right thing. And I'm not interested to go out there and have fun, party, and waste time out there. I'm not even trying to look for a boyfriend or a husband. I just want to follow what's in me. And she, for some reason, obviously, God was there before I got there. Because my mom never acted like that. Oh my God. She would have beaten me to death. And she said, she prayed over me. And she said, you know what? Go. I bless you. Just go. May God be with you. And things started looking up. And I went back to the city. Things didn't like go immediately. No. They went crazier and crazier and crazier. But this time, I had the courage. I had the peace. Because I know I have the blessing of my mom. Now, that might not happen for you like it happened for me. And sometimes, guess what? Today, we talk with my mom on the phone. And she's like, I am so glad you left when you left the village. Because I did not see what you are going after. I did not even understand you. I didn't know what you meant by I can't stay in the village. But now I see. I am so glad because you could not, first of all, you will not be who you are. You will not be even in America, because when I went to Nairobi, I worked here and there, fell, got up. You know what you do, life does that. I got into too many different jobs, but eventually it led me to where I came to America. And now today and we talk with my mom, and she congratulates me for not listening to her. She tells me, I'm so glad you didn't listen to me at that time. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're going to live courageously, that is the voice that God gave me, leave the village. And he created, it didn't look like a way. It wasn't this way. It was like a little place, and you had to sneak in there. Sometimes God doesn't create a big way. He creates a way to sneak through. All right. And so when God makes that way, he wants he's helping you to understand how to follow his word. He's helping you to understand his leading. He's helping you to know when he's calling you to leave and when he's calling you to stay. Because if I did not obey that voice back then, who knows where I would be right now? I wouldn't even want to imagine where I would be right now. It was tough. I had to go through a lot of things. But guess what? All those were necessary things that I had to go through to become who I am today. So when God wants to bring you from one place to another, he puts that in you. Sometimes people around you start acting funny. People that were friendly start being mean. People that were nice to you start like they can't stand you. That's one way I know when it's time to move. And sometimes I have to sit back and say, wait, is this me being petty or is this really God? Because sometimes, I'm guilty of that. I can be petty, right? And so I have to listen and pray and say, God, if this is you, make it clear for me. I don't want to leave just because I don't like so-and-so, or so just because my boss doesn't like me, or just because there is a situation here. I want to leave because you want me to leave. And because when God is shutting one door, you better believe it, that he has another door wide open for you. And so basically what I'm saying is, if you live courageously, if you live this life like you are supposed to live, and at the end of the day, not regret ever leaving this place, then it will come from living from within, letting God guide you. Don't worry about what other people are doing around you. Because I have seen this, especially our community is guilty of this. If I start selling sukuma wiki today and they start giving me money and people around me start seeing me making money, trust me, a bunch of them others will start selling sukuma wiki because we like to follow. We like to follow. But if I'm selling those things and they are making money, that's because that's where my blessing was. Now, you might come and make some cash, but it might not be your area of blessing. And what we do, we create unnecessary competition for each other. That way, what I was getting, now it has to get subdivided because someone else feels like, I need to do this too. I need to get this too. I need to get the money she's getting. To tell you what, there was this survey that was done on nursing home. Those are older people who are getting ready to die, right? And so somebody asked them, if you were to live your life again today, what would you do different? And guess what? 90% of the replies they gave is, I wish I would live with courage to do what I knew was right from within me and not worry about what other people think about it. I wish I lived for me. I wish I lived a real me. So don't let that be your regret at the end of the day. When you're on that deathbed, because we will all get there, hopefully years after now, when we get on that deathbed, You can look back and say, you know what? Like David rested and died. I have done what I came here to do. Now let me join my ancestors. If you don't live from heart and you let people around you guide you, and you let people around you who don't understand your calling to limit you, then at the end of the day, on that deathbed, you will have a lot of tears. You will die in pain. You will die in regret, and it's not worth it. So make up your mind today. There's something called healthy dependence. Healthy dependence is the ability to blend intimacy and autonomy. That means lean on others while maintaining a strong sense of self. You can ask me my opinion. Let's say you want to start a business. Let's say you are called to open a church, and I'm your friend. I'm real close to you. If you come to me and ask for my opinion, I believe God is telling me to open a church. And in my head, I can't figure that out. I can't imagine. What do you mean? In the middle of COVID, start a church? That doesn't make sense. Don't let the words of my mouth stop you. Don't let the fact that I don't understand stop you. Still, if you know that is coming from within, go for it. Do it. Because at the end of the day, it's God who knows what He's calling you to. So even if with my natural eyes, I don't see why you should start such a business or maybe a church at such a crazy time, God knows why. And sometimes things, even if God tells us to do something and it looks like it's not doing as well as we thought it would do, God is still doing something. He's still working on you. He's still planting seeds of faith, trust, believing that if He called you to do this, there's a reason for it. There's a purpose for it. So living from within is what we need to live a courageous life. Remember, the Holy Spirit is the captain of our life. And so He will lead us in which way we feel we should go. Now, all my life, even when I was leaving the village, I knew I was supposed to be a nurse, right? I wanted to be a nurse all my life when I was young. And I knew nursing college will take forever for me to get there. Because first of all, it's very expensive. My mom couldn't afford it at the time. And I was like, I don't know, if God, this is your will for me to go to nursing school, then you will make a way. But meanwhile, what do I do? Show me what to do. And so I went into business. I worked into some few jobs. I got into my own business and God blessed me. Now, I am a nurse today, but along the way, I learned other things that I could do. I never knew I could run a business. I never knew I could actually work for someone and make big money for them. I never knew that was in me until God made me go through that. So every step of the way, God is ordering your step. You might not even understand it. You might even be jobless. But even in that area of joblessness, He's still doing something. He's always at work in your life. Always at work. Now the thing is, we have to make up our mind not to be timid, not to be fearful, not to live for other people, not because so and so is doing this business, I should try it. Not because I know there are so many of us, especially in the diaspora, when we come here, the first thing we hear is nursing is making a lot of money. And some of us, we have no business, seriously, no business being in the nursing industry because it's not in us. And we are there for money and make the money. Let's make the money. But while you're making the money, go deep within and ask God, what was it that you wanted me to do? Why did you bring me all the way from wherever you got me from? Why am I in America? Ask God those questions. I promise you, God might not answer you and tell you, I wanted you to be an entrepreneur. No, I wanted you to be an engineer or this. He will start pulling you. He will start highlighting the desires He put in you. I knew I liked to talk, and when we were with my friends, we could talk. I could talk like all day. I just can talk. but I thought this is a weakness. The fact that I can talk, I thought it was a weakness because I felt like, why can't I stop talking? And I felt like the devil is using my tongue to gossip and do all these other things. But God has a reason for me to like talking, because all he needs is to transform my mind, put his word in me, give me his wisdom, and then use the same mouth to help somebody else. So when you ask God, why am I here? Why am I in Mombasa, like Leah? Why am I in America, like some of us? Why am I in this city? Why am I here? Trust me, he will guide you. If you loosen up, relax, breathe. Don't let people who are around you form your life. Don't let the people, whatever they think is okay or easy or good for you, to limit you. Don't, because at the end of the day, you will live a very miserable life trying to please so and so. Every decision I made after I left home, it came from me following that voice. And I promise you, when you learn to follow your heart and follow that leading, the truth is sometimes you will fail. I can't tell you I have not failed. Sometimes you will fail. But when you fail, you have no one to blame. You will look and say, oh, well, I guess I didn't hear that right. Oh, when you fail and you're following the voice of God, it never is a failure. There is a lesson attached to that. There is always a lesson attached to that. And so he's teaching you, like when I was doing business, I don't even know what me doing business had anything to do with who I am today. But at the end of the day, when God forms my life, he will show me that's why I needed you to meet this person. That's why you needed to know this person. That's why you needed how to transact a business. This is why you should know how to bargain when you're buying or selling something. All of these things have a reason. So where God puts you, some people might not understand. If God tell me right now, stop being a nurse and be a janitor somewhere else. Go and clean that building or go and clean that church until I tell you to stop. If I listen to the voice of, oh my God, how can I go from a nurse to a janitor? This does not make sense, man. People will look at me funny. And if I look at the people around me, my friends and people my family, they'll be like, what do you mean a janitor? You are getting paid this money and now you're gonna go down? But if I follow the voice of God, hey, blessings will always be there. And let me tell you, that is the only way you are going to live a courageous life. That is the only way you're going to live a happy life. Because happiness comes from knowing I'm where I am supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do. Now that I'm here right now, talking to you, man, I am full, I am complete, I am peaceful, I am fulfilled. Why? Because this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. That gives you peace. And so you don't need to drink to go to sleep. You don't need to anything to go to sleep. You are okay because you know you're in the right place at the right time. So I'm going to tell you what. If you look in the Bible, people like Abraham, for you to be used by God, you will need courage. For Abraham to be told, leave your country, leave your people, and God does not tell you where you are going. He only wants you to believe. That's the power of faith. You take a step and there is no stairs. You know how we go from one stair to the other. When you take a step of faith, there is no stair. You can't see what you're stepping on, but you take it anyway. By the time you take it, God will create a platform for you to land on. That's what we call faith. So when he told Abraham, leave your people, leave your country, and go to a place I will show you. It takes a lot of courage to pack your bags, to get your animals, take your wife, and go on, not knowing where you're going. But as you read the story of Abraham, you can see why he is so blessed. And up to today, we live and enjoy the blessings because we are the children of Abraham. So when you do that, you leave a legacy of obedience, because it takes obedience to do that. It takes you believing that God is who He is, to tell you to leave this job, not knowing where you're gonna go, not knowing how you will pay the bills, not knowing who will take care of you, and you leave it because God said leave it. But then for you to get there, you have to cultivate that discernment. You have to cultivate a relationship with God. So you don't just leave. You don't just make decisions out of what you're feeling, because emotions can be cheating. Emotions can be deceiving. So sometimes I'll be okay at this job, and then they'll hire a new supervisor, and this supervisor will not like me, and I'll feel like, oh well, it's time for me to go. No, don't plague yourself. So pay attention and deepen your relationship with God enough that you know when He's speaking, and you know when your flesh is speaking. Because if you don't differentiate the two, sometimes you make moves when you are not supposed to make a move, and you will suffer. So bottom line is, for you to live courageously, you will have to cultivate the relationship you have in God, cultivate and strengthen your discernment skills, so you know when it's time to go and when it's time to stay. God guides you even in relationships. He tells you, He lets people come around you and you connect so well. Sometimes there's friends, sometimes there's, co-workers. But when it's time to leave, He starts loosening that board. And you can feel the distance. You can feel there's nothing happening, there's no one cussing at each other, but you can feel the distance. And it's a sign God wants to move you to another place. So as a Christian, I would warn you, don't hold on to anything or anyone too hard. Because when you do that, then you make it so hard to leave when God says go. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is people around you will not understand. People around you will question your decisions. But you have to be so autonomous. Remember, ability to make your own decision, to govern your life. That whether they agree or they don't, as long as you know that desire and that is coming from God who is speaking within you, you can ignore what they are saying. Most people catch up later. Most people will not understand your calling until later. There are many people who started churches and their families were like, what are you trying to do? A church? Do you know how many churches are around here? But you know that was God leading you. And it didn't make sense to your family or people around you. But you went for it. A business, a marriage, whatever it is you are going to do in life, you're going to need God to lead you. And when He leads you, even if sometimes it looks like it's not working, He's still at work. The business might not work, but you have picked all the necessary details and lessons to the next level, that you take it to the next level. And so I pray that today, I don't know why God got me going on this lane, but I know there's someone He's speaking to, that don't worry about the people that are around you. Sometimes you cross your ears to the people around you. Sometimes you have to ignore and don't tell. Listen, Joseph's brothers and sisters are still alive. There are people who will feel offended that you even dare to dream. How dare you dream? I haven't dreamt even a small dream since 5 years ago. How dare you dream? There are people who will be offended by the fact that you can dream of a good future. So be very careful who you are sharing with, because Joseph's brothers and sisters are still alive. They will throw you in the pit. So be discerning on who you can ask for direction. Be discerning on who you can tell your vision. And sometimes, remember, I have been mind-blown by Mary, the mother of Jesus, lately. I've been studying her, and I'm like, this girl she's a teenager. And I don't understand. She's so wise that when the angel brought the news to her, she didn't share with anybody the news. right? She kept it to herself. Men, if you tell me I'm gonna be pregnant and I'm a virgin and I'm gonna give birth to her, I'll be like, oh, I can't wait for morning so I can tell my mom. I can't wait for, because those are big news. But look at her wisdom. She kept it within her. Even when she went to Elizabeth, she knew Elizabeth is expecting the same kind of a thing she's expecting, and it came from God. So she should understand. So sometimes we share our desires, our visions, our callings with the people who cannot see it for us. And what they do, imagine Mary telling me about, what? You're gonna be what? Mother of Christ? Are you serious? You know, I will question. And if I question her, it will put doubt in her. Remember what the angel said, what Elizabeth told her. You are blessed because you believed what God told you. Okay? So be careful who you're going to share this with. Sometimes keep it within you, carry it out. And when people see it succeeding, then you will tell them later. Some people have to catch up later. Some people have to catch up with your dream later, because they will not see it for you. They will not understand, and you don't have time to explain. And you're not supposed to explain. You don't owe anyone explanations. So what you need when you live from within is to live in a way that it doesn't matter who sees it for me. It doesn't matter whether it makes sense to others. I will go for it. So I planned to talk less today, but obviously that's almost impossible. So excuse me. Follow your heart. God is inside you. He's leading you. He's leading you. And if you follow his leading, you will end up at a good place. But if you let people around you influence you, if you let people that you seek advice from stop you, you will not do anything major in life. You will not do your purpose. Remember, to be a purpose, to live in purpose, you will need courage. And courage is that boldness, that guts, the daringness to do something even though it doesn't make, that scares you first of all, and it might not make sense to others. So, see you at the top, because I know you are going to go for your purpose. I know you will stop listening to people who don't understand you. I know you will start living from within and letting God guide you. I know you will deepen your relationship with God so you can hear him saying, it's time to go. It's time to stay. It's time to leave this person. It's time to leave this job. If you do that, your life will be much, much better. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your nice messages. I love it. I am so grateful, and I'm grateful to be used in your life by God. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Bye.